Welcome back everyone, and it is time to go balls deeper! Oh, you know what time it is? Go on, sing it with me. It is time for One Punch! Okay, now that I'm done bursting your eardrums, I think it's about time that I told you that this chapter was absolutely fire, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy, as we mentioned last time, we've waited 6 goddamn years for this moment. And Garou vs Saitama is hitting its peak. Yes, that is right, we are getting peak fiction.
Check this out.
Chapter 163 shows Garou achieving even greater powers. As he mentioned previously, his monsterification is evolving even further to unlock more of his potential. He will become absolute evil that can dominate the entire planet by being the most powerful. But in the end,
everywhere I go, I see his face.
The cover for this chapter also has the text, "Is that a person, a devil, or a god?" This is quite beautiful in my opinion, as Garou was originally a human, and in the chapter he metamorphosizes into a completely different being than before. The devil part comes from the fact that he looks like a monster and even grew those cool fancy looking hellish horns, and furthermore it is Garou's goal to become a monster whom everybody will hate. According to him, this monster will be a god level threat, which could be one aspect of the god part in the chapter title, whereas another interpretation could be his intentions, as they're simply pure in nature and aimed at bringing world peace, even though I think we can all admit there's probably better ways you could go about it. Even in chapter 163, Garou commits quite a few good deeds, earning respect too. We also see him in a pose reminiscent of a desert cow's skull. Now I'm sure we've all watched old western movies with a skull in the sand. Come on, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And as we can see from the title font for this chapter, it's quite clearly Western inspired. However, this skull has some great symbology behind it that relates back to Gorou's philosophy. Garou. My favourite One Punch Man character, Garou.
Okay. Let's try this again.
However, this skull has some great symbology behind it that relates back to Garou's philosophy. The bull's skull meaning comes from the Native Americans who associated it with life, prosperity, death, and destruction, which again suits Garrou's character to perfection, as he believes his fists are rated E for everyone and provides divine punishment to those that deserve it. Anyways, let's go back to chapter 163. Garou is in a little bit of a pinch right now. He knows that he's becoming stronger with every passing moment, however it's still not enough to cover the gap between him and Saitama. Now, you're probably wondering, why can't Garou even put a dent in Saitama, despite Garou being one of the strongest characters we've ever seen? He also reaches to become a god level threat, but to no avail. For example, in the webcomic, Garou defeated numerous S-class heroes with ease before even fighting Saitama, proving his strength. Well, we do have the answer to that question, but it's gonna be in a video next week. So make sure you smash the notification bell for the channel in anticipation for it.
Move this man!
And yeah, I kind of get it that I have just blueballed you a little bit. But trust me, it's gonna be worth it. Okay, is that good enough for you?
No.
Okay, now moving back to the chapter, Saitama decides to hit Garou with an existential crisis by asking what he wants to achieve. Saitama thinks that he's cosplaying a monster. He observed from afar that Garou was helping heroes such as Metal Bat defeat monsters, and Saitama knows from Garou's past that he was hunting heroes and assumed that he had hated them. So it doesn't add up as to why Garou is not being true to himself, whereas Saitama is the complete opposite. When people ask him why he is a hero, he just states that it's fun, nothing less, nothing more. With these conflicting ideas, Saitama figures out that Garou's true aim is to bring about world peace. If Garou saving multiple heroes from dying by destroying the centipede isn't selfless, and Tareo admitting to him that he's saved him multiple times, you can't be evil. That means on the inside, Garou must have ideals of what a hero must be, and that's what he's really upset about. Tareo asked Saitama in chapter 162 to save Garou, not to kill him, because he sees Garou as his hero, which tells Saitama the true nation and instincts of this man, as children are innocent and will speak the truth when danger encumbrances them. He's noticed Tareo's feelings for him, and Garou should consider them, because if he does, then his true feelings will surface and he could act like the hero he truly wants to be. We know this is true because when he faced off against his sensei Bang, where Bang stated in chapter 154, "You must listen to the voice inside of your heart." A part of Garou's humanity returned and he came back to his senses, having control of his mind rather than being blind and obsessed like a monster. Therefore, Saitama stating that Garou should straight up become a hero and stop playing around as if he's a monster is factually correct. However, just like chapter 162, where Garou denied Tareo's claims and reinterpreted the past as a villain, Garou refuses Saitama's claim that he willingly worked with the hero and that he was only using Metal Bat. Now, even more annoyed, Garou plunges to attack Saitama. Here, he shows the difference between a trained martial artist and an amateur who has almost zero experience against one. Garou attacks with massive hits on our little bald chap, and after a few combos he hits him with his God Slayer instant attack, pinning Saitama to the ground. But Saitama just simply dodges it by digging underground and popping back up again at a safer distance. Remember that Garou is an extremely fast individual who can create a constellation by running in 1.3 milliseconds using an instant attack. And yet Saitama had enough time to dig a hole and come out from another hole that he dug in the same duration, which really puts into perspective just how mind-bendingly fast Saitama must be. These are the same attacks that made Sage Centipede, who had been buffed by God's power, be cut like a hot knife through butter. It also goes to show just how unserious Saitama is, and that any time that Garou's hitting him, it's because he's letting it happen. Even Garou admits it. Saitama is effortlessly dodging using his miraculous reflexes and reaction speed. However, he still has openings due to his form being that of an amateur, which Garou subsequently takes swift advantage of by reading his next moves, sending Saitama flying for at least a few hundred meters, after which Saitama crashes into a building. The impact was so massive that the building was uprooted and it flew along with Saitama and crashed into 2 more buildings. This is an absolutely mind-boggling feat. That is the power of Garou, and my god is it impressive! Now yes, you've got Tatsumaki's psychic powers, but doing something like this using psychic powers is far easier than creating such a huge and concentrated impact with just your fists. The impact was so great that the buildings were obliterated upon contact. Even Garou is confident that not even Saitama could survive it due to the fact that no matter how tough his bones and flesh may be, he can't train his organs. However, he's wrong. As expected, Garou is completely flabbergasted, wondering how the hell Saitama even survived all of that. Before Saitama can even say anything or Garou can do anything, a bunch of people in suits step out of a bunker. Apparently they were checking for more survivors and got stuck inside as it ended up getting covered with rubble. Now if Garou hadn't blown the building away, the 5 people might have remained inside for too long and eventually died. As the 5 of them thank Saitama, he asks them to thank Garou instead, since, you know, he's the one that saved them after all. And whilst they were petrified due to his appearance at first, they thanked him with all of their heart. Again, Garou seemed to be surprised, since he should be considered a monster simply due to his appearance. However, as we've mentioned multiple times so far on this channel, Garou is still a human deep down, and this chapter makes it more and more obvious that Garou is closer to being a hero than he is a monster. We can see that as the left part of his human eye is now visible, visually symbolizing that the humanity of Garou is still there, which is likely why these survivors, albeit terrified, still thanked him. It also goes to show that the being that Garou strives to become already exists in Saitama. Garou wanted to unite the world under a blanket of fear, yet Saitama proves that the way to do it is by uniting it under a blanket of, well, normality. Yes, he is ridiculously overpowered, but at the end of the day, Saitama's just a normal dude. He doesn't care about going around sprouting his ideals to people. My guy just wants to chill and play video games. Now moving back to the chapter, Saitama trolls Garou as he claims that the absolute evil seems pretty damn good at helping people. This obviously pisses off Garou, who snaps and yells at Saitama and starts attacking again. I just look at these faces that Saitama's making, man. My guy is just such a troll. The scene then changes to a volcano exploding nearby and people evacuating the area. Just then, they see lights behind the volcanic mountain. Some believed that it was the start of an earthquake, and others called it volcanic lightning. However, it's actually Garou going through yet another transition, and this time gaining an amazing pair of demonic-like wings and getting thicky. He then starts pummeling Saitama as the latter compliments that he's grown just a little bit stronger. At this point, Saitama is more than just the world's strongest hero. He's the world's strongest bait. Like every time he opens his mouth, he manages to somehow anger Garou more and more. Now, whilst others would have been absolutely demolished before then, again putting it into context of how Saitama's norms have been completely warped after becoming the world's strongest, he just doesn't see reality the same as others anymore. Garou uses his anger as fuel to strike back at Saitama as he sends him flying into the side of the volcano, completely obliterating it. And well, what do you know? Absolute evil has saved people yet again.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
The intense pressure of fighting Saitama has pushed Garou into a desperate state, and it will ultimately be his downfall, as honing his craft and his superior martial arts is what made him better than others. I mean, he did say he was able to read Saitama's attacks because of it, but he then tanks a punch from Saitama and doesn't take any damage. Do you understand how crazy of a feat that is? Oh wait, no, never mind. It was a non-serious punch and it still sent him flying. Okay. But still, I mean, you'd struggle to find many characters that can recover from a punch off of Saitama that easily. Saitama then compares Garou to King, as they're similar in the sense that things seem to work out for the better no matter what they do, and that Garou has amazing hero instincts. King has always been able to get out of tough situations with monsters through sheer luck and his fame, whereas Garou's attempts to be a monster end up making him a hero instead. King doesn't even want to be a hero, but has instead been labelled as the literal GOAT. In fact, neither of them want to be a hero, but their deeds are deemed to be heroic. King accidentally took the credit for Saitama's doings, whereas Garou and his attempts to defeat Saitama ended up saving people. Saitama saying that Garou has hero instincts is also very important, as Garou doesn't actually want to hurt anyone. He simply wants to unite people and monsters and try to get rid of the prejudice surrounding the mysterious beings, and hopes to bring a world where kids like him and Tareo are not bullied. Now, this chapter was amazing, but you know what else is amazing? This video on your screen right now. So I think you should click it. Go on, I'm waiting now. Stop scrolling through your recommended. I said click it. Thank you. I'll see you over there.